Hello everyone and welcome to Travelling with the Stars. I'm Ty.
And I'm Karen.
And for those of you that have come across from the radio show, a welcome from Central Coast Radio. This is our podcast for our travel shows. And tonight we're going to start with Berlin. Why?
We
Why are you looking at me strange?
Starting with Berlin.
Why are you looking at me strange?
Nothing.
Because I said good tonight. Well, I'm used to that. That's a hangover from the radio show, I think, a little bit, because we were on at night.
So how long does it take to get rid of the hangover?
Oh, normally 24 hours of Bex and a good lie down.
Righto. So
Yeah, you can just slap me when I do it, all right?
I will.
Oh.
So
How much?
we'll start with a few pieces of history on
Oh,
Berlin.
hang on, history. Hang on, hold the phone. I am sort of ready. Ready? Righto.
Okay.
Those
so,
of you from the radio show will recognise my history button. What are you pointing
is
at my
that
screen
supposed to be
for?
moving around?
Yes, it
No.
is, dear.
It's not doing
You
it.
leave the panel to me, all right?
Okay. So
You do you.
Berlin was founded in the 13th century. It was elevated to the capital of Margraviate of Brandenburg in 1417.
Right.
Later it became the capital of the Kingdom of Prussia. The German Empire began in 1871, and by the end of the 19th century, Berlin became a world metropolis. I know you're keen to find out where the name Berlin came from, aren't you, Ty?
Oh, definitely.
Of course you are. So I'll tell you.
The Habsburgs?
No.
The Footstools?
No.
Who
It's
then?
thought to come from the West Slavic people.
The who?
The West Slavic people.
Why not the East Slavic?
Well, it says West.
Right.
And they inhabited the area, and it could mean swamp.
Swamp? Berlin, you're officially a swamp.
So the bear that we see on the coat of arms and everywhere in Berlin apparently came about because the "b" sound, it is like a German word for bar or bear. So not because they had bears in the forest or anything, but because of
bears
a
in the
word.
swamp?
Yeah, because of
Swamp
the sound.
bears.
Swamp bears. Perhaps the most famous landmark in Berlin is the Brandenburg Gate. And like the Eiffel Tower in Paris, when you see pictures of the Brandenburg Gate, you know it's Berlin. Well, most of us know it's Berlin.
I knew that.
The Battle of Berlin in World War II was very important as it was the last major battle in Europe, and the battle meant the end of Nazi Germany, including their leaders.
Goodbye.
They were all gone.
Yes.
Berlin was pretty much reduced to rubble in World War II, so what you see today is relatively a new city. It was after World War II that Germany was divided into East and West, East continuing under Soviet rule and the West being a free state.
Yeah, they got that wrong, didn't they?
Yeah, that was a bit sad to do that, separate families and everything else. Berlin was a divided city. The division remained in place until 1990 when the wall came down. And Berlin straddles the River Spree.
Actually, I didn't know the name of the river.
Didn't you?
No. And we've crossed it backwards and forwards across it in all sorts of ways. And
Spree.
I didn't know that.
There you go. So it's like going on a shopping spree, but it's the River Spree.
God, go, keep going. Honestly.
Enough about history.
And no more
Shall we
history?
move on to visiting Berlin as a tourist?
Why not? Get into it. We enjoyed our tourist time there, didn't we?
We did.
We had fun with
We've
that.
been a few times to Berlin. We quite liked it, didn't we?
Yeah. Continue on.
So,
Come on, chop chop.
chop, chop. Berlin doesn't shy away from its wartime history, and nor should it. We need to learn from history, whether it be good or bad.
Hopefully don't repeat it.
That's what you would hope for. In 1951, East Berlin's city planner presented the plan to almost completely flatten any structures still standing and rebuild the city. However, the East German government chose to demolish the historic Berlin City Palace and constructed a square. So we've lost out on some of the beautiful old buildings. They also constructed neoclassical buildings along what is today Karl Marx Alley, which created the first socialist boulevard in the country.
I thought you said you'd finished history.
Oh, well, now I'm just talking about what's
Okay.
back there.
Sorry.
And when we
You're trying to confuse me.
when we drove down Karl Marx Boulevard, it's a massive, big boulevard, as they all are in
Yeah.
those eastern countries. The state funded the building of 100,000 apartments, and that's what I'm getting to. Today they're still standing. You can still see the unique buildings from that era.
Area? An area?
Apparently they're supposed to be very modern, weren't they?
Fired a gun and got him right in the area.
The Berlin Wall, a large concrete barrier which divided East and West Berlin from 61 to 1989, was built by the East Germans to cut off West Berlin from the East. The barrier has guard towers as well as a strip that had anti-vehicle trenches and beds of nails and other very nice items.
Fun time war objects.
Yes, to ensure people couldn't attempt to go over the wall to the other side. I suppose it could also be called no man's land. No. So we've all heard the harrowing stories of members of one family being on the wrong side when the wall was constructed, and the wall symbolises the intangible Iron Curtain that separated the West from the East during the Cold War. Finally, in 1989, things started to change.
And the wall came down.
Uprisings began in Eastern Europe, Hungary and Poland, which meant that we could all go and visit.
Oh, about time.
And started this uprising amongst the Soviets as well. So eventually, as we said, the German government gave in to the unrest and allowed all East citizens to visit West Germany and West Berlin. The Brandenburg Gate opened in 1989, and in 1990, unification took place. So reunification really hasn't been easy for them, has it?
No.
Because there's still a lot of East Germans that find it hard because
but also
socialism
too,
gave
a
them
lot
work.
of those Eastern Bloc countries, some of them struggle, whereas some of them go ahead leaps and bounds, don't they? We notice that. Like Romania's gone ahead leaps and bounds. Hungary's gone ahead, but some of the other countries have really struggled.
Yeah, it's very odd. So you don't know why that is, whether it's their governments or whether they don't think they have anything to offer. But anyway, parts of the wall are still visible today. Many remaining sections have been painted with different scenes and graffiti art and abstract features, haven't they? It's quite good, some of the artists on there.
Yeah, it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Not typical of the crap we get in Australia where someone attempts to write their name and can't spell it.
Well, they're controlled art, aren't they? There's a section on the east side of the wall near the Lusenstadt Canal where you can walk along the remaining section of no man's land, and where up to 200 people were killed trying to reach the west over this part of the wall. Very sad. On our recent visit to Berlin, we stayed at the Mercure Checkpoint Charlie.
Yep, a good hotel.
The hotel's very central, and it's in a quiet street considering
where
up the
it
corner
is.
you've got Checkpoint Charlie and lots of the interest for the Second World War.
Yep.
Lots of restaurants and bars are around that area.
There are. We never shied away from anything. And I love the pop-up beach. Are you going to talk about the pop-up beach?
You could talk about the pop-up beach. We probably are a bit later on. Talk about the pop-up beach.
If you don't,
you
I'll
can
remind
do
you.
that. Well, yeah. So an interesting thing about this hotel is they have a wine room.
They do.
Remember that one?
Yes. We didn't get it.
It's not a room full of wine, but a deluxe room with a winery scene mural on one wall, and entitles the occupant, whoever gets it, as
To
a
a free
surprise,
bottle of wine.
to a bottle of wine of their choice when they visit the bar or eat in the restaurant.
That was so funny.
It was very funny.
Because your sister got the wine room.
Yes.
Your sister who doesn't drink.
Yes. So when I made our bookings, I noticed there was something different on one of them, but I didn't take too much notice. We checked in, took our bags to our room. I helped Countess Cornetto take her bags up. And when we got to the Countess's door, it had a mural on the door, which we thought was interesting. It was a nice big wall mural. When we opened the door and stepped in the room, it was a very bright, large room with the wine mural. And that surprised us. When we looked on her booking form, it did mention a wine room.
Oh, okay.
The room is chosen by the hotel's computer system at random, so you can't actually
book it.
Mm-hmm. It's just random. It's a good
their
idea.
computer system's name random.
Yeah, I think so.
Hello,
very
random.
Very random. We also had a laugh because, as Ty said, Countess Cornetto doesn't drink alcohol.
No, but we made good use of that wine.
We did. So
We drank it.
we took her downstairs. So the whole surprise was lost on her, but not on us. And we, of course, as we said, we chose the bottle of wine and we drank it. I think we may have encouraged her to have a small drop. That was about it.
But I don't think she finished it.
No. The Countess will allow herself to have a Baileys on the rocks every now and then. Gorging Gons thought he would have been more worthy of the room because he never wins anything special, was his case.
Gorging Gons is very
And I'm sure
special.
we talked about Gorging Gons in our other podcasts.
We have talked
haven't,
about, yeah,
have we?
well, if we haven't, Gorging Gons is someone that travels with us quite regularly. Although since he's got a new other half, he's slacked off a little bit. If you're listening to Podcast Gons, you've got to get your act together, especially next year.
Yes.
When we head towards Greece for our anniversary. So
That's right.
you better get your act together, Gons, or you're dropping out of the radio show. Well, sorry, the podcast now.
The podcast.
I'll get that right.
Yep. The rooms at the Mercure Checkpoint Charlie were large and very reasonably priced and had balconies. Inner courtyard balconies, but they were still quite good, weren't they?
Somewhere to hang your socks and undies.
Somewhere to hang your socks and undies and watch the other people that stepped out in their undies onto the balcony thinking they were alone. Breakfast was included and was...
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Who did that? Oh, someone down below us, wasn't it? Yeah. Not a good look.
Breakfast was included and was quite adequate. We were impressed with the hotel overall and highly recommend it. Like I said, it's in a very good spot.
Yep, good spot. They were doing some works around it and the fascia and that sort of thing, but they didn't start at any silly or ungodly hours to do the work. As Karen said, it was in a great location. All in all, Travelling with the Stars would give that one a good 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I think so. It was very good. And have we told our listeners how the Countess got her nickname?
No, you better.
We probably haven't. She likes Cornetto ice creams, and whilst we were in Munich, which we will talk about on a later podcast, we found some very large cornettos. They were called king-size cornettos.
King-size cornettos. They were monstrous.
They were.
In Australia, anyone from Australia listening, double the size of what we get.
And they were at a mini-mart not far from our hotel in Munich.
Yeah.
And so, of course, she loves her cornetto, so she had to have one. So on each occasion that we saw them, she would have to have a cornetto.
Anytime we pulled up for fuel, she was looking for
a cornetto. So her name became
Countess Cornetto.
Cornetto. That's right. And also that giving people names saves them from any embarrassment when we talk about them.
Unless people know us and know them, and then they can bag them out badly.
Exactly. So back to Berlin. As our hotel name suggested, we were close to Checkpoint Charlie, about a 6 or 7 minute walk away, and the Mercure is in East Berlin. So when we walked to the US Checkpoint Charlie from our hotel, we entered the American sector. How strange it must have been to live in a city that was sectioned off like that.
Yeah.
It's been very odd.
Especially if you wanted to go to the shop across the other side, you couldn't.
You weren't allowed.
No.
There is a plaque that commemorates the tank standoff at the US checkpoint in October 1961 and the US envoy that defended the freedom of Berlin. The Mao Museum is across the road, and that might be of interest, although along the footpath on one side of the street are lots of photos of various happenings during the time of war and when the war was up. I thought each of the photos themselves tell a pretty good story.
It did, and that was also the fencing for the beach.
Exactly. Well, you may as well talk about your beach now that we've talked about the wall.
Along the wall down to Checkpoint Charlie, they had all, as Karen said, they had all the photos and information about what happened then. But behind the wall is an empty block of land that has been empty since that time. And every summer, Berlin City turns it into a portable beach. So they truck in all the sand, they bring in food carts, they bring in drink carts, they set up portable bars, they have chairs, they have tables, they have bean bags, and so it's like a little escape place. And you go in there and you can buy some. We had lunch in there a couple of times, and we had a couple of afternoon drinks in there. Great little spot. It's not there in winter because you'd freeze to death out there because it gets a bit snowy. But in summer, really worthwhile.
Yeah, and the lunches, like Ty said, we had a kebab one day, and they were monster kebabs.
They were a good size, not monster.
To me, they were monster. Here in Australia, you can buy small ones, but over there, they were monster, and they're served quite differently to the way that our kebabs are served in Australia. It was sort of on a big dish thing, wasn't it? You needed a knife and fork to eat their kebab.
You did, but then again, you eat pizza with a knife and fork, so that'll give you an idea, everyone listening.
Look, it was like a giant chicken salad served in a giant clamshell. It was
nice.
Big.
It was beautiful.
But the beach is not visible from the main road. From Friedrichstrasse, you can't see the beach. You can only see it when you go around the corner.
And walk actually into the gates.
Yeah. I mean, there is plenty of signage to alert you to its existence, But yeah.
And overnight they light it up with pretty coloured lights, and everyone gets in there and they're very social and they have some drinks and that sort of thing. It was quite cool.
Yeah, it was totally different. The hop-on, hop-off bus, of course, is available in Berlin, as it is in all European cities. A great way to get your bearings in a new city and to learn about the landmarks you're driving past. Choose to get off when something interests you, or choose to travel the circuit, as we often do. And they usually go for 24 hours or 48 hours.
For the pass.
For the pass.
Yeah, not the trip.
No, not the trip. No, you can't stay on
That'd
there
be a
all
long
night.
one.
No, they finish off
serve
usually about
food
6
and
o'clock.
drinks.
No. There's much to see in Berlin. It doesn't have as many wow factor ancient buildings that I like due to the destruction in and after
they got
World War
bloated
II.
up.
Beg your pardon?
They got bloated up.
They did. But there's still plenty to see. It has other things to excite the visitor. And take the time to visit Friedrichstraße. Here you'll see perfect examples of Soviet-built apartments, now privately owned, but in excellent condition, with well-kept gardens and lawns. These Soviet apartments were state-of-the-art when they were built. Our guide told us that large kitchen, modern bathrooms, and they were all to get the East Berliners to want to move to these apartments and to feel the government cared about their welfare.
Right.
Even though they didn't.
Yeah.
But it was mainly to show the West that the people in the East weren't oppressed, even though they were. But they are quite different, aren't they? And I mean, obviously well built, because they're still there today. Berlin
haven't fallen over yet, like a lot of ours.
and they're now probably sold off to lots of the Western German people. Berlin Zoo and Aquarium in Berlin's Tiergarten is a very popular tourist attraction. It's the oldest and most regularly visited zoo in Germany. The advert says it's home to the largest variety of species of any zoo in the world.
Well, there you go.
We can't comment on that because
We didn't go.
We didn't go. Zoos, I'm not big on zoos. I think if you've got kids, young ones, a zoo's a good place to visit.
The last time we did a zoo was when we had family out from the UK and we took them up to the zoo at near Port Stephens.
Near Port Stephens, that's right.
And that wasn't bad. And I've done a review on that on Travelling with the Stars via Google, so you can have a look at that as well.
The advert says that...
Oh, don't sound so excited about that, all right? You just calm down, Don't get overexcited.
The advert says it's home to the largest variety, as I said, of species in any zoo in the world, and it has the only giant pandas in Germany as well.
Right.
Well, not surprising, because giant pandas aren't native to Germany, are they?
No. My last time I looked, they were Chinese.
Yeah. The zoo opened in 1844 and covers 35 hectares. Berlin has two zoos, one in East Berlin, named the Tierpark. Sadly, during World War II, the zoo became a battlefield and most of the animals perished. Only 90 survived out of 2,000, so that's a bit sad that they weren't able to get the animals out of the way. A large part of the Berlin Wall still exists, as I said, and is mainly the backdrop for artists. Murals are quite varied. Some depict East German suffering, others modern art depicting African dances, to Elvis, an abstract art form, the times of the East Bloc oppression, and all sorts of other political slogans. So you'll see this variety of things on the wall. Friedrichstraße, as I said, is one of the main thoroughfares, and this is the street Checkpoint Charlie sits across. And as you walk down Friedrichstraße towards the river, Spree.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the creek.
Yes.
Another creek.
There's more clothing shops appearing, and what I thought was...
I know you'd mentioned that. For those of you who haven't listened to the radio show, my darling wife, Karen, is a shopaholic.
Oh, look, I'm not that bad.
Want to bet?
And anyway, I thought there were some very interesting displays on the Friedrichstraße on one of the days we walked by. On either side of the road, every so often, there were tiny glass houses which were showcasing clothing, wedding dresses, table settings for weddings or furniture. And I thought that was a fabulous idea, wasn't it?
Right.
A bit different.
Scary.
I would strongly suggest that you take a cruise on the River Spree. It provides a different insight into the city. It's also quite relaxing, isn't it? Really?
I didn't do it.
You did?
No.
You didn't.
I didn't. I wasn't well that day, and I stayed. I had a dose of the flu-y thing, and you guys did it.
Right. So
I stayed in the
room. You missed the
room.
lady trying to get off the wrong part of the boat.
What?
Anyway, there was a lady that was desperately trying to get off or I don't know where she was trying to go, but she was trying to get off the back part of the boat where you couldn't. It was a no exit
Right.
part.
So she go for a swim?
Well, we couldn't tell her because she didn't speak English, so
Right.
it was a bit of a problem. But anyway. So, oh, sorry, you didn't go. Well,
I
it
wasn't
provided a different insight into the city.
Right.
If it's antiquities you're interested in, the Altez Museum is in the historic centre of Berlin, and it was completed in 1830 by order of King Frederick William III of Prussia.
You must do it.
I must do it. Berlin Cathedral, Palace and Zeghaus are all within proximity of the museum as well, so you can do a few things in the one area. Berlin Cathedral is quite an impressive building, a landmark of Berlin and overlooks the Spree. St Mary's Church is in central Berlin near Alexanderplatz. There's still a few Trabants, the East German manufactured car. They're running around town mainly as tour cars.
Lucky there's no cows.
Yes, I heard a story many years ago that Trabant's rubbish cars, they were made of cardboard and they were left in a field and cows ate them.
Yes.
But yeah.
The panels weren't that well made.
No, I'd be worried about getting in one to go for a drive round. The Brandenburg Gate is a must-see, and most tourists make their way to the Brandenburg Gate the first day they arrive in the city. We left ours till day 3 of our stay. You weren't there either, were you?
No, I went past it on the hop on, hop off, but I didn't get out because that was the day you did that as well. You
missed
just
a
left
lot
me
of
behind.
Berlin, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I had a dose of the flu.
Oh, right. It was a little busy when we went, which meant taking photos would include strangers, a pet hate of mine. But anyway, some people think it's
People
great
should
to
be
have...
banned when you're out
They
holidaying,
should.
shouldn't they?
Well, they should be banned from photographs. Being in my photographs. I know people they think
I've
that
got to start videoing,
it adds
haven't
character, or dimension. Well, yeah, but if you get a flu and you're laid up for 3 days, you miss a lot.
Well, it doesn't have an option, but that one knocked me around. We thought I was going to miss the cruise after this, didn't I? Because I thought I had COVID.
But you didn't.
I did, no.
So the Brandenburg Gate is iconic, and thousands of people celebrated as the Berlin Wall fell at the Brandenburg and freedom moved to unify Germany. Berlin Tour website spokesman Christian Tanzler says it has symbolic value for Germany, and it also stands for reunification of East and West Germany. And that's probably true. I guess it's a major. The gate was severely damaged in World War II, but has managed to stand the test of time, and the symbolism is still valid today. The gate was first opened in 1791. It's not really a gate that you think of with a latch and you open the gate.
No, you can't just
It's
walk
like
through
a big
it.
arch.
Big, huge arches.
Huge arch. Several arches make up this gate. So it's a gate in inverted commas. Many probably think it was built to symbolise a war victory, but this is not the case. It was very simply to mark the end of the Boulevard unter den Linden. That was it. That's what it was there for. A few more interesting bits about the gate.
Is this history?
It is a little bit of history on the gate.
Can I?
Yep.
Can I? Hang on, it lined up again.
Have you got
ready?
it lined up? Ready? Okay.
Oh, hang on, it didn't work.
Why not?
Why did it not work? I don't know. Hang on.
There you go. It worked.
There we go.
Right, so it was modelled on the Propylaeum of the Acropolis in Athens. It's 26 metres high, has 6 Doric columns on either side, which support a crosswise beam 11 metres deep and 5 walkways through it.
Right.
And even they get crowded, and there's 5 of them. The structure of the horse-drawn carriage was stolen by Napoleon's soldiers in 1806 and taken to France as a victory trophy. However, it was returned to France after Napoleon suffered a defeat.
Returned to Germany.
Oh, returned to Germany. After Napoleon suffered a defeat. I'm glad you're listening.
No, no.
Taking
Keep
notice.
talking into the microphone,
Just proves
please.
you're taking notice of what I'm
In
saying.
the microphone,
Righto.
please, not to me. Microphone, big red thing here with the knobby thing on it.
In 1933,
Don't give me dirty looks.
a torch-lit procession by the Nazis passed through the gate to celebrate Hitler's rise to power. The gate was closed when East and West Germany were separated, only opening again in 1989 when it became the border crossing.
Oh, that'd be slow.
Very slow. If you want to know about Berlin from the beginning, then visit the Story of Berlin, which traces 800 years of life in the city. There are some interactive exhibits as well. There will be a museum or two to suit every tourist's taste, I'm sure, in Berlin.
Unless you get museumed out like we sometimes
we
do.
sometimes get museum and churched out. Castled out.
Castled out now,
Yes,
and
yes.
ruins out.
Yes. Berlin has become... Now we're just going to have to go to Europe and sit on the footpath at a bar and drink and watch the passing parade.
Why would we do that? We never do that. Although we know people that do.
Yeah,
No
we do
mentioning
know
any
people that
names.
do. No mentioning name. No.
But that's not us.
No, it's not us. We'll have to find something else to look at. So Berlin
When
has...
we're too old to walk.
Berlin has become famous for its nightlife, which is said to be amazing. There are hundreds of bars, pubs, and just as many events. The Berlin club scene is hailed as one of the best in the world. And there is a large variety of nightlife, and we have a small sample of the districts and what's available.
Must be though, even the restaurants. Like we normally in Europe won't eat till 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. Very rare for us to leave dinner before 10:30 or 11. Sometimes even later. So it's very much a late night thing.
It's not good for putting on weight if you go to bed after
I
eating
put on
dinner.
weight easily.
I know you do.
Then I got to lose it again.
In the city centre, you can visit Hackscha Market and Orienberger Straße. If you're after lively, vibrant nightlife, Orienstraße is for you. If you want a neighbourhood with nightlife from the whole world, head to Weserstraße. One club is notoriously hard to get into, and that is Berghain. It's in an old East German power station.
We passed that on the hop on
We
hop
passed
off.
it. It looks very rough and ready. It's got graffiti and all sorts. It's all overgrown. But we were told that it is a world-class techno hedonistic spirit with a high-end club culture. But anyway,
I don't think they'd let us in. We're too old.
I don't think we want to go in.
Yeah, you're right there, but I don't think they'd let us in
So
anyway.
yeah, not somewhere you'd find us, but younger techno crowd may find it the place to be
Those
seen.
of you into doof doof music.
Yes. I believe Elon Musk was refused entry to this club.
That's because he's a dork.
A
And he likes
sophisticated
dumb electric cars.
a sophisticated bar is more our style.
Did you say sophisticated?
Sophisticated.
Now you're being funny.
Berlin has no official closing time, so you can find a place to have a cocktail or listen to a live band any time of the day or night.
Oh, well.
There you go.
Is that Berlin done?
I think that's Berlin done.
We've got other parts of Germany to do.
We have got other parts of Germany
We'll
to do,
definitely
but
get
I
them in
think that's
podcasts in the future.
I could tell the funny story of how I had to rescue the car going over
What car?
the car many years ago.
In a previous life.
In a previous life,
Previous husband.
trying to park this car. He had a problem driving on the opposite side of the road. Well, he did, trying to run us under trucks and things. But then when we had to park the car in Berlin, we had to park it up in a special parking what do you call it, parking plaza thing.
Yeah.
And so you know how you go round and round
Yeah,
and
yeah.
round. And it had a little lip on the edge of it so you didn't fall off and go down into the other car
And
parks
into the
below.
abyss, yeah.
Yes. And as we're driving around, he took the car over that edge.
Oh!
One tyre completely over the edge, and then the one front tyre, and then I don't know what you call the undercarriage, but that section.
Yeah. The front the sump plate and sump guard, yeah.
So I had to remove him from the driver's seat, climb out over the edge of the concrete section, try and get back around the car, and get back into the driver's seat, and bring the car back onto the road again.
Oh, no. Did you damage it?
I don't think so. I don't know. I didn't check. I just got back. I just got it back off that concrete block. A man up the top of the car park was obviously walking down, and he obviously heard me shouting. And so
Did you swear?
He stood. No,
You never swear.
no. And so he was standing up the top watching and listening to me, because it probably echoed all through, shouting for him to get out the car and let me drive.
Oh, no.
Anyway, I got the car back onto the
Is that why one of the first things you said when you met me, can you drive? And do you have a bus license?
Can you go up around a circular car park? I don't know what you even call spiral car park
spiral,
thing without
yeah,
taking
entry.
the car over the edge. Very scary. It was a bit scary.
Oh, dear, you
Yes,
amuse
but
me.
anyway, so there you go. That's the end of our Berlin at the moment.
Well, that's the end of Berlin, this podcast.
It is.
So, everyone, have a great time.
Yes.
That's goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
And goodbye from us. You've been listening to Ty and Karen on Travelling with the Stars for our Berlin podcast. Bye for now.
Bye.
I'm going to play some music.